Hi, how's it going?
Yeah, good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm great. I just got off work. I am super tired, but I've been so excited for this interview all day, so I'm excited.
Awesome.
So, if you don't mind, introduce yourself and let the audience know where you're from.
Yeah. So I'm Tarli. I'm the director of Greenhouse Studio, a luxury niche perfumery and skincare studio in Perth, Western Australia.
That's amazing. Is there a big market for perfumes over there?
Yeah, I think there's been like an increase like across the globe in, I think even last year the stats that were coming out was that fragrances are the fastest growing segment of the beauty industry, and that trajectory is on the rise. So yeah, and definitely I think niche perfumery is also on the rise within the fragrance segment too.
100%. So speaking of niche perfumery, I seen your store in Australia. Oh my goodness, it looks so beautiful. It's luxury. It's so aesthetically pleasing. I did want to actually ask you, how did you get your name and what was it inspired by?
Name is from, I guess, Growers Greenhouse, which is a place for plants to flourish. And so I wanted to create a space for people to flourish and to have access to the best beauty and fragrances and treatments, because we also do like facials and skin treatments and massage from around the world. And, I firmly believe that our well-being is interconnected with that of those people around us and the planet, and obviously the creatures that we share that with. So we specialize in clean beauty and niche fragrances with clean, high quality raw materials. That's why the name and I guess core values.
Well, I love the name, and guess what? I love you guys because the package that you sent me just came in.
Amazing.
And, for the audience that didn't know, so here's some context for you. So Tarli did hit me up on Instagram, and we did converse a lot bit. And then one day, I just get a notification. You got a UPS package coming. I'm like, what? So she has actually sent me 2 fragrances from her store, all the way from Australia to Toronto. So it is a pleasure to be able to have you on here right now to be able to do this. So you
amazing. Ready? I'm ready, and I'm so excited to see what you think. So I've sent you 2 fragrances, one that I know you're a fan of, which is from a sort of, I guess, a bigger niche perfume brand. And then I've also personally selected a fragrance that I think that you will love, which I'm pretty sure you haven't heard of or tried. So I'm really keen to get your opinion.
I'm excited. So if you guys don't know, they specialize in some crazy ultra niche fragrances over there. So before we get started though, hit the follow button, follow me and follow the Greenhouse Studio, and let's get on to it. So smash the like button, guys. Here we go. Ooh. Oh, what is this? Hold on a second. Oh. Wow. So if you guys are watching this right now, they just sent me 2 fragrances. They have the Layton by Parfums and they have sent me the Carner Barcelona. Wow, I've heard a lot about this before. You were explaining to me about the Carner brand before. I didn't think you were going to send this one. Which one would you like me to open first?
Let's open Carner Barcelona, because I think that's going to be a bit of a new one for people. It's, a smaller niche brand than Parfums Layton. So let's get your opinion on Carner Barcelona Palo Santo, which is the fragrance I selected for you. Okay.
Well, the box is very boxy. It's really, really nice. I like this. It's very simple. So this is the brand, guys. Like, as you can see, it's by Carner, and it's called Palo Santo. It does have the notes on the back of the box. So let's check it out. You guys ready? Oh, wow. Okay, that is very ultra niche. This is probably the most ultra niche bottle I have in my collection. And what makes it so ultra niche is this giant block of wood. Look at this. That's crazy. I love how it's so simple and effective, and the juice looks very potent. I'm going to try it on my skin right now. So I'm sorry. I think I'm getting anxious, guys. Let's see what fragrance Tarli recommended. Honestly, she seems like she has a really great taste in perfumes, so I'm excited. Here we go. Ooh, oh, okay. Atomizer's 10 out of 10. Oh, this smells incredible. Oh my gosh. So
what can you smell?
It's a little bit boozy. It's got some sweetness to it. The Palo Santo is definitely in the background. It's got a very nice woodiness.
Yeah.
Off the bat, it almost smells like a boozy drink mixed between fine wine, and you also have like some very aged cognac or whiskey in the background.
Yeah.
Wow, this is crazy. It's a little bit creamy. It's a little bit milky as well. It's a very confusing fragrance. Wow. This is something I think I would wear.
Amazing. Cool.
This is probably the most different, like most niche fragrance I honestly have in my collection.
Awesome.
Something like this. How much does this something go for in your store?
So it's about $180 Australian. So it's a pretty good price point. So it is like an accessible ultra niche brand. They don't spend heaps of money on marketing and advertising. So all the money that you're spending is going straight into the product itself.
And you know what? That's totally fair. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen this brand here in Toronto. And if I have, maybe if I overlooked it, but I can guarantee you there's not a lot of Canadian brands that carry this right here. As it's drying down, I get a very, very beautiful, like woody accord, something like that. I'm gonna read the back for you, but
yeah,
it's that rum accord is coming out a lot. The vetiver from Haiti, it's very slight. They literally went around the world and picked a lot of different ingredients to make this fragrance happen, and I think this is really cool. Before we get into the Layton here, I'm actually going to ask you another question, so that way, we can get to know more about you. I saw on your website and I saw on your storefront that you guys do sell art as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
And where did that come from? Because I see that you're doing spa, you're doing arts, you're doing perfumery. So that must be a very, very awesome experience for customers. So let us know more about that.
So I guess I've always had a bit of a love of art, and I always had a bit of a dream of opening up an art gallery, but the dream to open up this wellness space, luxury skincare, niche perfumery, came to the forefront. But I also wanted to set this space up so that it was almost like an art gallery and that all the products were the art for people to enjoy. So when we first opened our new store in Claremont, as part of our launch party, I collaborated with a couple of local artists, and we did a curated art exhibition for people so they could come enjoy the space, enjoy the art. I think our external environment impacts our internal environment and how we feel. So like if we've got a beautiful space around us, then we're going to feel beautiful and calm as well on the inside. So for me, it all kind of ties into, enhancing our well-being is, part of having a beauty on the outside as well as on the inside.
That's deep. That's all. I like that. It's just I love how everything that you have does have meaning, and it's easy for others, like customers, to come in and connect with that. They see that the owner is very personable, want to cater to everybody's, their energies, their auras, the way they feel. So I love that you guys have that 5-star. It's like a 5-star hotel. All you need to do is have a little bit of a stay, and I think it's good to go, right? So a very important question. What is the fragrance that started it all? Obviously you love your perfumery and you have a good taste in them as well. There's got to be a fragrance that started it all. So which one was that?
It's sort of a hard question to answer because I was obviously influenced by a lot of fragrances when I was young and growing up. So I was a teenager in the 90s. And so there was a lot of big kind of revolutionary fragrances launched at that time, such as CK1, which was, one of the first unisex fragrances ever released. And it really brought like the intersection of fashion, pop culture, even hip hop culture, like it had Marky Mark, who is now known as Mark Wahlberg, but back then was a rapper. And leading the campaign with like Kate Moss, and they did a really edgy photo shoot. So for me, that really made perfume accessible to the younger generation and added a bit more of an edgy element to a lot of like those designer brands that were very traditional and classic and seemed like the sort of thing that your mum or your grandma would wear, like Chanel No. 5. It's like a classic, traditional, vintage perfume. So 100%. For me, I think CK1 was, it was just something that changed my perception with fragrances. It wasn't necessarily my favorite fragrance at the time. Being an teenager in the 90s, aquatic fragrances were also on the rise in the 90s. So they're really only introduced in the 90s. So there was huge rise in aquatic fragrances. So I've always been a sucker for a really good aquatic. So that sort of influences me. But, you know, as I kind of grew up, I think Ralph Lauren Romance was my signature scent for a while, which interestingly has, it's beautiful. It has a really similar scent profile to Delina by Parfums de Marly. So Romance is a lychee rose fragrance. So it's a very light, effervescent, fun, playful, flirty rose.
Speaking of romance, do you think that Delina could be inspired by Ralph Lauren Romance? Now that you mention it, I'm like,
Yeah. So I think, like people are always asking that. Like, so for example, the fragrance that I sent you, Palo, Santo, a lot of people who love Killian Angel's Share will be like, oh, this smells a little bit like that. It's a boozy, rum, sweet vanilla-y, woody fragrance. You know, is this a clone or which came first?
Oh, yeah.
You know, I sort of think it's like, you know, kind of like in the art world, there are so many artists out there. Who was the first person to paint a portrait of a lady? Or who was the first person to do a still life of a bowl of fruit? Or who was the first person to do a landscape? Or who was the first person to do abstract? And then you see similarities in abstract art. And it's like, I don't think people are out there copying each other, but I think we take inspiration sometimes from the same things. Yeah. And also inspiration from each other. So I personally don't believe that Delina was really directly inspired by Romance by Ralph Lauren. But, you know, that may be the exploration of the combo of lychee and rose, but they've done it very different. They've introduced rhubarb, like they've got quite a lot of differences in Delina.
You heard it first, everybody. That is an explanation that a lot of people have been asking me. Like, that's a question everyone's been asking me. So honestly, there is your answer. And honestly, I think that was very well explained. Couldn't have explained it better myself. So I think it's time to open Layton. So I know you've been waiting for it, and I know everyone else who has made it this far. Thank you so much for having a long attention span, guys. I'm gonna open Layton, and let's see how it is. You know what? I remember smelling this fragrance before, and this is when Parfums de Marly was like trending.
Yeah.
I was so against it because I was like, oh, everyone likes this one fragrance. I don't care for it. Now everyone likes the fragrance I like, which is Altier. I wanted to try Layton a little bit more lately. But I haven't because I've been waiting for this moment. So let's see how this goes. She did send me the 75 ml, which is perfect. I really appreciate you. And guys, if you are in Australia, please, I'm gonna put the address on the video. Go visit her. Tell her that you are from this video. And maybe she'll do better for you guys. Okay? You smell this fragrance through the bottle. And this is like a brand new bottle. That's insane. That must mean this fragrance must be very potent. So as you can see, this is Parfums de Marly, Layton. And if you've tried this fragrance, let me know in the comments down below. So, I just love the heavy cap. See, this to me is very niche. I remember when I was looking into this fragrance house before, and I was just like, oh, I don't know what's so special about it. Knowing the difference between niche and designer and just opening my nose to so many different smells, I feel like now I can appreciate this more. So
beautiful.
I'm going to try this out. Oh, that's beautiful. Here we go. Wow. I was wrong, guys. I was wrong. It's like food, guys. Say you get introduced to a dish and you don't like it off the bat. Eventually you start getting used to it, and then you decide, hey, this is my favorite food. This is something I might want to eat later on, right? I feel like it's the same as fragrances. Because right now, I love this fragrance right now. This fragrance is so beautiful. It's got like a very dark, sweet, and fresh turn to it. I know the apple is coming out a lot. It is a little bit minty in the beginning, and I like that. Maybe at first I didn't when I first smelled it before, but now that I do have it again, this is something I would 100% wear. I can understand why Layton is such a very popular fragrance.
Yeah.
Wow, this is beautiful.
That's great.
Wow.
And I love that. Like, just because a fragrance is hyped up, people then become a hater or a lover. So they either jump on the train or they start hating on it because it's hyped. And I always think just like a good fragrance is a good fragrance, and personal preference and your mood should dictate what you do and don't like, not someone else's opinion. So
that's true. That's true.
yeah,
That's just like seeing a movie. You know,
totally.
you might hate it, but don't tell me that I'm gonna hate it. I gotta watch it first.
Exactly. Yeah.
As it's drying down, it just has this beautiful freshness that's so sweet, so like tobacco-y or something dark. Oh my gosh, you're the best. This, I feel like, is going to be my new signature. Tarli, I really appreciate you sending these out. As you guys know, she doesn't ship internationally, but unless you're the Toronto Fragrance Guy, of course you
Exactly.
got it, right?
I make an exception.
So I urge you, make sure you go follow her. Make sure you go check out her website right there. The website is right there. And make sure you do follow her on social media. She is wonderful. She's very good at what she does. And her store is to die for. And I also heard that Drake just purchased something from your store. Is that correct?
He did, yeah. He purchased some of our skincare.
Come on, Drizzy. See, listen, man. You know who I am. Go over there and cash out on some fragrances. Okay, other than Dreca no more. All right? I do want to ask you one question as well. This is my last one. If you had to pick, just looking at me, which one do you think I would wear? If you didn't know me.
If I didn't know you, I would possibly say Palo Santo, because I think it's a little bit more unique. You come across as a really creative guy. It's a bit more of a beast mode fragrance, a bit more of a nighttime fragrance, perhaps. I would probably lean towards that if I had to pick and I didn't know you.
Guys, I just dropped her. I just had to get gas. Sorry about that. So I appreciate that so much, Tarli. You have a fantastic night, and thank you so much. You've been awesome.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm really excited to keep watching your new series taking us around tours of niche perfumers around the world.
Oh, this is not only going to be interview number 1. We're going to be interviewing you again soon.
Okay, can't wait.
Have a good day.
You too. Thanks for having me.
This is the Toronto Fragrance Guy, out.